Guru Nation, what a special episode. The first time I talked to this man, Ronak Ganatra, who's a site owner now, an SOS ally that save our sites for those wondering. Um, an expert in this space, especially around recruitment, and a site owner. All right. And Patient Ace founder and my business partner now on Patient Ace. Chris and I joined up with Ronak. We joined forces and became business partners with Patient Ace because it was by far the best recruitment platform I've ever used, and it was made by one man on a mission. And that I remember the first time we spoke, Ronak, it was 2015 or 16, I believe, right? Around that time.
It was 2021 actually. 2020 or
No,
2021.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. That's when we
Yeah.
met. I met you in person 2021 in LA.
Okay.
We had a Zoom where you were passionate about you were like, "Hey, I've been in the industry, I've been talking to different sites." Like you
Yeah,
were
I think it
early.
was
It was early.
2021.
No, no, no,
That
no, no,
was a
no.
couple years ago.
Pre-COVID, pre-COVID, pre-COVID,
Huh. I'll have to
pre-COVID,
look.
man.
I'll have to look.
Yeah,
Time
I'll have
flies.
to look too. But either way, man, you were so like passionate and you came from you had it figured out in the hospitality space, hotels, right? And we're gonna get into your story. You got the paid advertising thing figured out, and you were just asking why can't this be done in research? And I said I think because it's dominated by a few monopolies that don't want it to actually work well. They want to reap the rewards of an inefficiency. And I think that's starting to change. So, man, we've come full circle now being business partners. Because the first time we
Yeah.
talk, I'm like, man, this guy's got a lot of ideas, but I don't know, like he's gonna be a site owner. And since then, you've become a site owner too. So props to you, man. You definitely know what you're doing. And anyone that I put you in touch with is blown away, impressed beyond belief at you and your work ethic and how you come across. So just wanted to tell you that publicly. Props to you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I wish we were at 100%. It's, we can't we try, but we don't always bet 100. Just recently lost a site after we did a study and it didn't work out. But we I think we have a pretty good record. I would say over 70% success rate.
And so you like, can you just tell about your story? Because those that don't remember, and I'm gonna go look, guys, I will find that video and I'll post it underneath, and we'll see who was closer to the years. I'm pretty sure it was BC before Corona. Because I remember meeting you in person during Corona with Dr. Al. We went to
Yeah,
Dr.
that was
Al's.
all. I do remember meeting in person, and that
Yep.
was during
Post-Corona.
COVID.
Yeah, like 20.
But yeah, it's I think it was a much more compressed timeline, but it
Yes.
seems longer.
Yeah,
So
man. But you have a personal connection in this because you're like, why can't I? Like, I'm trying to join a study, so why don't you share your story?
sure, sure. So, my background is in couple of things. So, digital marketing, e-commerce. I've been in the hospitality industry, um, and then I've also worked in product management on the corporate side. But I started this journey in the site space, as Dan mentioned, several years ago. And I had heard about this concept of sites, privately owned research sites that do research, and I'd come across them. There was a business for sale, and that's how I kind of learned, um, the concept. When I had first approached you, we were looking to buy sites, and the idea was that we would, purchase one or several sites and incorporate digital marketing for patient recruitment because I kept on hearing that patient recruitment is the biggest barrier to to research and getting drugs approved. And so I thought, well, maybe we can figure out a way to apply that towards the site side. And one of the things I always do whenever I'm looking at any opportunity is sort of a secret shop or mystery shop and kind of get an idea of what it feels like to be a consumer in that space. And so I remember I was looking up studies and I had reached out to, I think it was in that previous interview, but I'd reached out to maybe 5 or 6 different studies that I could have qualified for. And one of them, so I had called all of them, and then one of them, maybe 3 of them didn't respond at all. One of them left a voicemail, like they left one voicemail, and then we played some phone tag, and they never followed up. And then one of them I was able to reach and make an appointment. They did some pre-screening questions over the phone. I showed up, and there was a very common disqualifier, um, which if I had known about earlier, I would have not wasted my time, but that wasted a little bit of time. And then one site, they brought me in, and I went in person. I remember this, and I met with the coordinator, I believe it was. And that's when they sprung on me that that initial visit would be 4 hours, and I definitely had not um,
You
prepared
what?
for a 4 hour visit.
Welcome to research, man.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
you
So
get at least $20 or what?
that's funny because I was going to say, not only did I not get any money, they lost my license, my
Oh,
driver's license.
wow.
So,
Wow. I
so I
remember
had
that
to actually,
story actually.
yeah, yeah. So,
Wow.
it's, and then, one of the other sites, the previous site that I was mentioning, I was about to walk in. I said, wait a minute, let me ask, for some compensation. And first they said, no, we can't do anything since you didn't qualify. And then they said, well, okay, we'll give you a $10 gift card. So they gave me a $10 gift card.
How generous.
And it was just,
Wait, was this
so
a small
many.
site or a AMC?
No, this was a multi-location major research organization.
A private. So like
It was
SMO.
private, yeah.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
private. It was yeah, one of the majors.
Okay.
I won't
Wow.
name them, to protect the innocent, but
Yeah, they might be patient ace clients, maybe.
yeah, who knows?
Okay.
But so immediately, brought out so many opportunities, like, nobody texted me. And it would have been so simple for somebody to text and follow up, and
Yeah.
instead of leaving voicemails. And that's only gotten stronger over the years, where people just don't check their voicemails anymore. They don't
Wow.
answer
Yeah.
calls because spam, sales calls and all that.
Yeah.
So, that sort of started the whole process of, okay, we wanted to kind of do a proof of concept where, okay, I think that digital marketing can help. I think we can do Facebook ads for patient recruitment, but I don't know for sure. So we talked, I think you put me in touch with the site, and we decided to do a campaign. And, I told them, look, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but here's what we'll do. You don't pay me anything. I've put together this program, and you just pay me per randomization. If I get you patients enrolled and randomized, I forgot how much it was, but we figured out an amount. And then, it was a go. And I think this was a difficult study, but within a couple of weeks, we had randomized, 7 patients, 6 or 7 patients out of, we did over 100 leads, if I remember correctly. And long
Wait,
story
was this
short, that
Monica?
it wasn't Monica,
Oh,
no.
not Monica. Okay. Monica was later.
Monica was later, yeah. So
Okay.
Monica
Yeah.
was, I think, was referred after that success, and then it
Monica
kind of
was
just,
also blown away, man. Like everyone I sent your way, even if they haven't gotten to the point of trying Patient Ace, is just blown away by your expertise, your confidence in setting them up, your knowledge. Like I'm not kidding, man. Everybody's a Ronak fan.
I don't know. I hope so. I mean, I think, ultimately it's like, before I learned about the research world, I always thought that, the reason why it takes so long to get research done or to get a drug approved is probably, some scientific reasons or some technical limitations from chemistry or biology, or, you know, the people in the lab coats have to figure it out. And when I found out that it's more operational issues, and it's more, sort of the day to day, it kind of struck me as it's such a big opportunity for change. And really, we're talking about people's lives that can be potentially changed if we can get through this process a lot faster, if we can be more efficient. And so, to me, I think it's just so many pieces, putting them together and making them work together more efficiently. And it seems more common sense to me, but I guess there's a lot to work with and a lot of parties and a lot of players involved. So we have to figure it out piece by piece. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think
You know what I
we,
think? I have like this theory about that. I was talking to Chris about that the other day. It's only been like 2 decades that research,
mm,
yeah, like maybe three, but I've only been around two. That research really became privatized and away from the AMCs and
sure.
IQVIA used to be quintiles. They really made it like accessible to other doctors. It's only been like what 2.5 decades, maybe three.
Mm,
And we're still in that phase where it's starting to change now with the
mhm,
consolidations and all that, but
sure.
we've been in this phase where it's been like a side hobby for like a side quest for doctors,
Mm,
and they don't treat it like their real business. And there's been a few, like, top 5%, just like
sure.
any other distribution curve that do really well. Like I'm talking private jet type
Mm,
well, and then it's kind of like everyone else. And I think a lot of like you're referring to are stemming from this issue that it's not hasn't really been professionalized yet. It's always either been a side quest of a doctor or like in an AMC, like in a department where they don't even care about making money necessarily. So it's
sure.
like
Yeah, I think
it's
that's
in
a
its
good point.
infancy.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the AMC's, they have a lot of work and they have a lot of studies, um, and I think it's not, maybe for lack of a better term, it's not been corporatized, in a good sense. Meaning, there's, like you said, there's a lot of mom and pop sites, individual physician owners, and then you have the AMC's, but there hasn't been a corporate sort of. There are some, and private equity has gotten involved in the space, and I think they're working on it. But there's no Fortune 500 site operator, I guess.
No.
And with Fortune 500 companies, they're not all of them, but at least there's some effort from most of them to do process analysis and to make sure that things are running smoothly, at least in theory. And then so maybe somebody just needs to look at like the entire process from A to Z and really just re-engineer it,
Oh, they
and make
are.
it more efficient.
They
So
are.
and I
There's a
think
lot of
that's
people like you as well coming from other sectors and saying, "Hey, this would be unacceptable where I come from.
yeah,
I see an opportunity." There's a lot of that in all the verticals we're seeing.
yeah, and that's a great thing for the industry, right? I think, and then
I
with
think
the
it
advent
is.
of AI and everything else, that a lot of opportunity there on all sides, both preclinical and
Yeah.
and on the clinical side.
I mean, we're actually at the state. I made this prediction like a few years ago. It sounded crazy, way before I really knew patient ACE was a thing. Um, that there's gonna be the day that leads come to the site passively.
Hmm.
And that sounded
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
crazy to me, man. Like even 5 years ago, and now it's a reality. And it's not quite passive. We have an admin that's texting through patient ACE. And you're
sure.
right, like 99% of the communications text. Texting, scheduling, pre-qual scheduled, coordinator shows up, patient's there, right? It's almost passive. And
Mm,
I do think that's going to be the case. Like that roadblock, I think will be eliminated. It will mostly be now keeping the patient in, um, doing better at pre-screening because these studies are getting harder.
mm.
But the actual finding the patient part, I think that problem has been solved not just by patient ACE. I think we do it best, but by a lot of people in the space.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't know necessarily if we would want it to be 100% hands off, meaning, we're still, at the end of the day, we're dealing with health, we're dealing with people, and we're dealing with, some very sensitive concerns. So even if it's just we can probably get 95% there, but I still think it's important to have that personal touch and have, 2-minute phone call, 5-minute phone call, just so people know that, hey, there's somebody there.
Yeah.
It's not just robots and AI and all that. It's just hey, a lot of times we get comments from our ads. Hey, is this legitimate? Is this real? This sounds like a scam.
We get
So,
that every day. Every day.
like what? I get paid for participating.
Yeah.
So I think having that touch is helpful, but I think we can automate that part too, so that only the ones that pre-qualify are getting through to that process, and then we can have it booked straight into the calendar for the site, so that there's no back and forth, and there's just one system that sites are looking at and working with.
Yeah. And I do think this is where maybe being like a smaller site, or I guess a more like a artisanal site, like is when
I
the
like that
patient's
word.
there. Yeah, there shout out to Lee Eifler. He's made Artisan Clinical Research. It's like a network. I don't know. He's probably talked to you about that already. But there's something there about the patient when they actually get there. Like you,
Mhm.
and when you showed up to the site as a patient, your initial impressions are like, okay, are they friendly? Are they cold? In your case, it sounded like they were somewhat colder, maybe. I know Brad's had similar experience with he he put one of his kids in a vaccine study, I believe, during
Mm,
COVID. Had this similar feedback. Um, Cold. I think we need to go the opposite. That's one of the things Yuma Clinical Trials has done well. We try to do well, is be very welcoming when the patient gets
mm,
there. Like, hey, do you want something to eat, drink? I know you're fasting. As soon as we draw your blood, we will get you something to eat. Just inviting, welcoming. I think that should not be lost despite the M&A activity happening and the VCs
sure.
coming in. There's something there where it's worth giving up some profit margins to ensure that that part's taken care of.
Yeah, and I think it feeds right back down to the bottom line, right? Maybe temporarily, if you can eliminate costs in the short term, but ultimately, it's a people business. And if people feel comfortable, they will recommend others and their friends and
Yes.
family, and they'll come back for more studies and things like that. But if they don't have a good experience, um,
Man, those
then
bad experiences. And this is really where it stems to like, okay, who's taking care of the patients? The coordinators. Okay, who's taking care of the coordinators? Unhappy coordinator means unhappy
mm,
patients. Like they project on the patient. Like, hey, if I don't want to be here, they make the patient feel like they don't want to be here. But the
yeah,
opposite is
absolutely.
also true. Like if they're empowered, if you ever talk to customer service of anything and they say, "Oh, I can't make this decision," well, that frustrates the hell out of you as
Yeah,
a
I just dealt with that before getting off the call. I was talking to an airline agent for a trip that I was planning, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, airline's a horrible example because they're not profitable. But imagine be empowering your employees to where they can take care of that customer. Like
Mm,
they're empowered within a certain parameters to where they don't need to go ask somebody for approval, right? They can just
sure.
take care of it. And that's worth giving up some profits. Now, airlines have none to speak of, but research sites definitely do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think ultimately it does come back down to the bottom line in the long term, if not in the short term.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, so that's how we kind of started, and then we just got referral after referral, and it kind of just snowballed from there. And then recently, we as we were partnering up, we started getting inquiries from sponsors as well, who were interested in, using us as a central vendor for central campaigns. And then we've been, up until now, we've been more of a traditional vendor for sites where, we work with sites on a campaign per campaign basis, and they get access to the software, to process and respond to the leads that come in. Because really, it's about getting in touch with the leads as quickly as possible, as quickly as they come in, and then using text messages as a medium. So Patient Ace obviously does all of that. But up until now, it was a platform that we gave to our clients, our service clients, and we weren't really selling it as a standalone. But recently we added the capability where sites can launch their own ads with just 3 or 4 clicks. They don't have to have expertise on how to run a Facebook ad, how to go into the ads manager, and
They don't even
and
need a
fix.
Facebook page.
They don't. Yeah, we handle all of that actually. And we just make it simple and click, click, click. We have seen what works. We've almost templatized the whole process where we know what kind of language attracts patients and subjects. And so we made it very simple where sites can just 3 clicks, launch a campaign and get leads. And so we're very proud of that. We're very happy that we're able to do that. And we're in beta. The response has been phenomenal. And I think we opened it up, and I think we're almost closed out. We have maybe 2 spots left, and we
I
already
saw the
have
email to
more.
Dr. Al. Dr. Al, get on it, man.
Yeah, we only have I think 2 or 3 spots, and we have more leads that have come in than we can handle. So we're just being very upfront about the sites that we can help and we can't help. We've had inquiries from sites where they want to be on it, but we're just honest and say, look, I don't think this is a good fit for the site today, maybe down the line, but I don't, it doesn't help anyone if we get somebody to sign up and they don't get results and then they're mad at us, and it just doesn't help anybody. So we want to make sure that it's a good fit
Is that
for the
because it's a
sites.
weird study or because that site's not equipped to respond properly to leads?
It's a combination of things. So we do look at the studies that they have. So some of the rare, if they're only doing studies that are very difficult to recruit for, it's a little bit harder to justify. Ideally, a site would have at least one high enrolling or potentially high enrolling or even medium enrolling study. And and if they have that, then all the other campaigns are essentially extra gravy revenue, because of the model that we work on. We're not charging per campaign, where we charge for the platform, and sites can do multiple campaigns for a set price essentially. And so they might have one study that will pay for the for patient ACE and get a return. But they can also add on some of these rare disease and harder to recruit for studies without having to lose a lot of money. And if they get those patients, then it's just a bonus essentially. So that's part of it. Part of it could be their ownership structure. If it's a very top heavy structure where having to deal with a different person that's the owner, and then we have a site director, then we have the PI is different, and then we have a sub-I is different. Like I guess if there are too many cooks in the kitchen that have an opinion on what needs to be done, it makes it more difficult. Not impossible, because there are some larger sites that are more coordinated, and we do work with them and we can work with them. But it's more of on a case by case basis, and especially on something like a beta, there's going to be some kinks in the system. There's going to be ups and downs, and uh,
There's been a
we
few
just need
kinks.
we need the right partners for this beta so that we can
We're
make each
getting the
other
kinks out of
successful.
the way, though. One of our recent
Yes.
kinks with our, well, we got like a 1,000 leads in like a minute.
Oh
But
yes, yes.
Ganesha, our CRC's phone fell off her beds her nights. Everyone
Yeah.
started
Sorry,
texting each other, "What's going on?
I
What?"
remember that. Yeah, that was recent. So
Yeah.
that I share that story, and I forgot that you guys were on that too, because there was I think it was Monica's site that had that happen to them too. But interestingly, we had them set up with, and I don't think Yuma was set up with appointments where where the leads would set up phone calls
Ah,
with the
right,
site.
right, right.
But Monica's site was set up with both appointments and emails. And so, um, with so for some context for everyone else that's listening, essentially what happened was we have within Patient Ace we have a process where as soon as a patient raises their hand, and says, I'm interested in the study, they get a text message from the site that's automated, and they get an email as well. So what happened was, I think this was, there was a glitch in the system, which essentially caused all of those texts and emails to be resent to all of the leads. And luckily, it only happened to, I think, two of the sites. So we were
At
able to stop
once,
it
all at once.
all at once. And that started triggering all the notifications for all the sites. But
You know what my
um,
first thought was, Ronak? This is where my mind went.
uh-huh.
I said, God damn, we're gonna get charged a lot from Facebook. We can't possibly screen all these people to make up for that money.
Yeah,
That was my first thought.
the good thing is, you have control over your budget. So um, there should not be any reason for that to happen,
Yeah,
because you set your daily
you
budget and
set your
that's it.
limits. Ronak, your background, okay, hospitality, hotel industry, if I remember right. Um, what was it that you did there, and what are some lessons you've learned from that industry or any previous industry you've been in? But the hospitality
S-
is the one I remember,
Yeah, so
and that you've
hospitality
brought here.
was brief. I was actually revenue manager. So I was overseeing a group of hotels in Florida, and I was responsible mainly for um, revenue management, which is basically like setting rates and making sure that we stay competitive with the market, and that we're essentially filling our rooms. But I think I learned more on the rather than my direct job description. I was handling the online channels as well as the rate setting, but it was more with the interaction with the guests and the guest experience. Part of my training and responsibility was to go and visit all of the properties, and just kind of, it was a small family owned company, so everybody was doing a little bit of everything. So when I first started, it was a lot of, hey, you're fresh, just go ahead and kind of stay a night and experience the hotels and see how it feels, and what you have for us. And it's just, I think it taught me to put myself in the shoes of the customer, and in everything that we do. So, what other lessons?
What'd you do before the hotel stuff?
So e-commerce
Oh,
and
okay.
digital marketing. Yeah. So,
So that's right up
um,
your alley. Like for you, online leads using
yeah,
Google, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, that's second nature to you.
yeah, it has become, and this was, I started back before Facebook was even doing ads actually.
Hmm.
So back then it was more on the email side. We were doing email marketing
Wow.
for clients. And then a lot of it was also just a lot of um, creative deal making and creative approaches to business. So it was not necessarily just, okay, we have a product and we want to do an email campaign. It was also kind of, okay, how else can we work together? How else can we market this? We did a lot of like joint ventures and things like that, where I had client A and client B in a similar vertical, but they were doing different things, but they were targeting the same customer, and we had a lot of success kind of tying both of those together, and sort of working together there. So
And
um,
you're a brand new site owner. I think it's important for people to understand Patient Ace is founded by a site owner and owned now by three site owner, me, Chris, and Ronak.
yeah,
So,
yeah, I think that's probably one of our biggest differentiators, is really, I say it's built by sites and built for sites. Um, you know, the we we don't try to fit every site into a box and say, this is how we work, this is how the system works, this is how Patient Ace works, and this is how you have to work. We kind of take a flip side approach and ask, okay, how do you guys work? And then Patient Ace can be customized um, for that workflow, right? So some sites, they don't want to deal with text messages, and so okay, we won't do text messages, we'll do emails, we'll do um, you know, it's completely customizable. and we try to make it work
But some
as
sites don't
efficiently.
want to do text messages.
So some sites don't want to get so, so this is actually with and I don't blame them for this because we we had launched I think this was Brad's campaign for some of their studies, and the notifications, I think with most owners, they want the notifications at all times. What was happening is the notifications were going out over the weekend. So that post that Brad made on LinkedIn, with all those leads, those notifications were going out to the staff as well. So I think Brad was getting them, and the staff were getting them too. And they were very nice about it. And they said, oh, by the way, we're getting these texts at all hours on the weekends too. Would you mind taking me off of that? So, some people we kept some people on, like the
I
coordinators.
see.
And then, those who didn't need to be on there, we,
Man,
we
all
took them
five
off.
of our staff, yeah, we get them all constant, day, night,
Yeah.
weekend, but they understand. My next hire is going to be a weekend and evening admin.
Mm. I think that's
Uh,
a big opportunity. I think one of the things maybe down the road is we might think about is doing either an after hours or a weekend call center, or maybe even just to, add that as a service because
yeah, I think an
um,
add-on as add-on service would be great.
that might be down the road, but having that for sites, we would do, we have that potentially as a service for sponsors, but that might be something to add on for sites
Yes.
as well.
The
Um,
admin we just had, Anthony, he was here for the summer. Now we're in
mhm,
between admins, so it's Lana
mm,
doing most. And Lana's the admin and the coordinator.
yeah,
Um, I found a lot of, I still found, because like you said, you can control how much you spend. Yeah, basically by that you can gauge how many leads you're getting a day is the purpose of that. And you kind of play around with it till you figure out, all right, we're getting like 7 leads a day. That's probably manageable. Um, per study. So there was a lot of downtime from an admin that I think in the next admin can also do data entry, can also
mm,
run to different doctors' offices and get labs signed, scan documents. So there's more than just for my site
sure,
roles for the admin, but
mhm,
having that as an add-on with Patient Ace would be interesting because now it would
sure,
open up other things my admins can do. So yeah, never ending, man. The like the
yeah,
the solutions to these challenges, and we're kind of helping create more challenges by creating
sure.
opportunity. The opportunities create secondary unintended consequences, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never ending, and it's just, a constant keeping up with uh more solutions, more problems to solve.
Yeah, more money, more problems. Like
Yeah.
you know who said that, right?
That
BIG.
was BIG. Yeah, that's right.
I was testing your North Carolina music acumen with Lana the other day. We'll bring that song out next time you come live. Site ownership real quick. So it's brand new site, ophthalmology, right? So if anyone's
Yes.
looking for any sponsors watching, get a site in North Carolina with a good ophthalmologist. It's running.
Yeah, we'd love to talk to any ophthalmology sponsors. We're in the process of starting up a study right now, so it's exciting.
Congrats, man. Are you gonna,
Yeah.
is it big enough to use Patient Ace or do you think,
So this particular one, I think we're going to give it a shot. We're going to see.
okay,
The challenge is it's the qualification criteria requires a lot of tests beforehand,
yeah, yeah,
even pre-screening. So even we look through the patient database for the PI, and I think majority, we were only able to identify a handful, maybe 30 or 40 out of hundreds or thousands
okay,
that are in the database. So I think more for general, just for our patient database, we might use it, but I'm not sure necessarily for this study. Because it's a
yeah.
device study. It's a very specific criteria.
A lot of, yeah, some of the studies, unless they're paying all screen fails, which shout out to some of our sponsors that do. Congrats to you, man. And you're gonna be at Save Our Sites. Do you have are you running that study yourself, like as the coordinator, or do you have Somebody,
Yeah, so the PI has staff. So it's
okay.
going to be a combination. I will be heavily involved.
You're more of the site director, and then you'll have, you know, I like those ophthalmology stuff. A lot of it's like straight and forward. A lot of it is standard of care anyways, and just
mm,
tests, like you said. So I think that's you'll learn a lot doing that, and
yeah.
you'll probably see more inefficiencies in other areas if you haven't already. Study startup is a big one.
Oh man. Yeah. We've been negotiating this contract maybe since February, and we just got finalized recently, and it's just they were like, oh, it's we gotta hurry up, and they were in a hurry, but it's now we're in August, so I guess that's just how things work. Um,
Next is SIV. And
yeah.
you gotta wait for that. I'm waiting for SIV for like months for the study. We did everything
Wow.
already. Yeah,
Wow.
big pharma. But we're gonna use patient ACE when it starts. I was telling you about it before.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. It's I think it'll be a good one because
Oh
those
yeah,
are great studies, and we have several sites on the indications that you mentioned. They're just killing it.
yeah, I know.
One of them
I
is
could see.
actually very difficult to recruit for, but we found the right angle, and that they're doing a great job.
I think with the right pre-screening, because we went through with one of our studies, we went through. We were like, in the honeymoon phase of patient ACE, like, wow, everyone who comes in, okay, just come in, come
Yeah,
in. And then we started getting a bunch of screen failures in a row. The sponsor still paid for all of them. Shout out to
sure,
them. But we've gotten much better at pre-screening now beforehand. So we're scheduling less. It's taking more leads to get a patient randomized, but we've kind of figured it out. And
sure.
every study, you got to like play with the gears and figure out like,
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is that, if you t typical central vendor campaigns, it's kind of they start it up and that's it. Whereas we have the ability to make tweaks. We take a lot of feedback from the sites because marketing in general, and especially digital marketing, it's test and tweak, get the results, test and tweak, and if you take that element out of the process, that's 90% of marketing, right? So if you're not constantly testing and tweaking, you're going to get a stagnant campaign. You're not going to know what's working, and then sponsors are just paying vendors for the sake of paying vendors, and sites don't get the full value, and it's
yep.
sort of nobody really wins.
Yeah, you
Uh,
gotta play with the levers. I think that's what I like about especially the next phase of Patient Ace is giving you more access to these levers so you can kind of fine tune it.
yeah,
Because in the past it was just me calling you or texting you, hey man, can
sure.
we like slow it down right now? Okay, now we can pick it up. On another one, we had to stop it because Patient Ace got us so busy. Our monitor called us and said, hey, you're trending as a high enroller. And FYI, three other sites have been audited recently by the FDA. And that was enough for me to say, okay, well, Ronak, let's stop at the ads on this one, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I've talked to a few sites who said that they've actually had to hire or they're thinking of hiring more coordinators because of the volume, and
Yeah.
that's a great problem to have. That's,
To those sites,
that's
get an admin and train them to be a coordinator, I think. That's my
yeah.
advice. That's my advice. But thank you, man. Anyone that wants to connect with Ronak, his LinkedIn is underneath. Again, ophthalmology studies, and you're trying to open it up your site to other indications too, or
Yeah, I mean, we want to do controlled growth. So I think we'll focus on ophthalmology for now. We will consider doing NASH,
big time, big time.
unless I have, or if there's any PIs in the Raleigh area that want to get into research or that have research experience, reach out.
Okay.
Then we can add some more studies. But
I'm trying to
I
think.
want
I
to
don't
make
think
sure
we
that
have
we,
any clients even Raleigh. We have some Charlotte clients, but no Raleigh.
yeah.
Keep
But
everyone keep Ronak keep your eyes peeled for Ronak's PIs, please.
awesome. Thank you, Dan. And so far you've been a great partner as well, and I can't wait to see what we do moving forward.
Likewise, man, I'm real excited about this one. It's got the same early stage energy that I felt last year with SOS, like launching
Mm,
that. I really feel good about this one too. So, thank
awesome.
you. It's an honor to be partner with the very intelligent Ronak. Well, probably one of the smartest people I know.
Oh, I appreciate that. I don't know about that, but
Oh,
I am
I
also
do.
likewise. I like I like being able to say that I'm partners with the number one influencer in research.
Let's get it, man.
That's
Match made
right.
in heaven. Let's go. Let's change the game. Patient A is amazing, though. Seriously, guys, reach out to us if you're interested. Ronik's LinkedIn's underneath. Thank you, Ronik. Like, subscribe, comment, share. You'll hear more from Ronik soon. Bye bye.